Talk about a return to mediocrity as Destiny 2 Lightfall drops this week. Everybody and their mother was talking about it. Everybody and their mother was playing it. And now, almost universally, everybody thinks it shit the bed. And that's disappointing because, as you saw from my previous video where I did play through Witch Queen, I thought that the story was really starting to build some momentum. There were a lot of questions that were posed to us in Destiny 1 and in Destiny 2 Vanilla that were not answered to really anybody's satisfaction. And over time, it seems that Bungie kind of took the hint, introduced a slew of very interesting characters, and they changed over to this seasonal DLC model, essentially, where you were constantly getting drips and feeds of new content and new story/lore progression, which did feed into a larger narrative, which paid out in the named DLCs. And it's been generally trending in a positive direction, as I think Destiny has fixed a lot of their writing issues, and the I don't have time to explain what I don't have time to explain memes have kind of faded off in the background. Enter Destiny Lightfall. Now, I'm on the official Destiny the Game subreddit. It is 2.7 million strong, which pretty good for, a game that's been around for a hot minute, if you're including the kind of OG Destiny experience. But needless to say, there's still a lot of people who are strongly opinionated about this game. Just look at some of the posts. Now, this is just a random compilation. I didn't skew this just to show you that I'm not highlighting it. I don't know if you could hear me rapidly clicking the refresh button. I'm going to go ahead and even click the refresh button on the Steam page just to show that I'm not filtering this by things that are, important to me or skewed or whatever. One new Crucible map, one new Strike, nothing new for Gambit, no new core vendor armor, ... Seems to me that this person is not happy when the first line of their post is, "What did you spend all your time on, Bungie?" Here's another suggestion. Instead of making the older strikes longer, maybe you should have spent the time making new ones. If you're good enough to put on a shader, do a patrols in Lost Sector, you're a vet. Giving 20 commendations to fellow players for Hawthorne's Pinnacle makes them meaningless. Bungie, can you turn Lake of Shadows back to the way it was? Funny that the story hyped up Strand and the final boss is actually easier to beat without it. Why can't I become charged by picking up sprites, breachers, tracers, and shards? I find these useless compared to the well. The Lost Sector is once again doing an amazing job. So there you go. We got somebody who actually likes the game so far. Despite it all, Osiris's voice acting was superb. And the list goes on and on. Cooldown's too long. Abilities were nerfed. It got to the place where it was actually doing something. I felt, and I think this is the key post. I'm glad Destiny Voidlock wrote this post, because this is kind of what I was going to sum up my point with. My biggest disappointment with the latest expansion is that the game finally got to the point where I felt good recommending it to friends last year. I won't do that again this year. So a lot of these people are, by the way, the same people who have responded to and reviewed the game on the official Steam website. You could use the client or the website to get to this. I'm just using the website because it's a little easier to navigate to. But here you could see the reviews are mostly negative. There's only 29% of the reviews for this game are positive. But, look at how many negative reviews there are. And let's just look through a few of these quickly, and then I will wrap up some of the thoughts that I have seen from this game. At this point, Bungie should just hand over story writing to ChatGPT. It would probably do a better job. Huge letdown, honestly. Alongside all the other new changes, it's not worth buying. And then this guy gives a list of pros and cons. As you can see, there's a couple good pros here about the overhauls of the gameplay is good. Callus and the Witness have a great time when they're on screen, except for the ending. And gameplay-wise, the campaign is similar to Witch Queen, so that's good. But quite a list of negatives. I'm a bitter Destiny fan who hates the direction the game has been going, and I still can't justify spending $50 just to end up with a 6 hour of a mid-tier campaign followed by the same thing I've been doing for the last 3 years. Not recommended, not recommended. This DLC was written by a 15-year-old girl on Wattpad. Yeah, I'm done giving Bungie chances. I played for 10 years since Destiny 1 Alpha on the Xbox 360. Pros, everything except the story. Cons, the story. This guy received the product for a fee, so this is actually somebody who is paid to write a review. All build up, very underwhelming, very unsatisfied. So here's what I'm going to say. The issue that I think we are collectively seeing here from just 1,000, and I don't have the DLC, I'm just reporting on what I am reading. This seems to me that, Bungie hyping up this game as, in their own words, a pivotal time in the story. This is from their official product description where they mention that this is the major turning point of the game. We are wrapping up what they call this kind of series, this last story arc of, the light versus the darkness. And this is supposed to be kind of this major turning point in the game as we kind of wrap up this variant of the game and move on to a new variant. It doesn't seem like it got close. And let's not kid ourselves and think that for even a moment, 343, who inherited, the story from Bungie, had a lot of opportunity to fix Halo. And that was a lot in part due to how bad Bungie handed the story to them. And looking back at what Bungie did with the original trilogy, I think it's worth showing that Bungie can't be trusted when it comes to story writing. Yes, they absolutely excel at gameplay, which a lot of these reviews talk about, how great the gameplay was and some of the new mechanics and some of the, the way the gameplay overhauls were great. This is something that universally, I think people still like this game because it genuinely is fun to play. The mechanics work. The controller feels good in the hand. You can move around, whether you're somebody like me who likes PvP or you're looking for a little more of the story. There's lots to see and do. That's awesome. But the problem is there has to be a reason for doing this. There has to be a goal at the end, whether it's just just totally just collecting items or whatever. But whether it's skins or armor or whatever it happens to be, the problem is that burns out over time. The collect for collect's sake does ultimately come to an end, and people do need to be challenged and stimulated. And when you open up the game with forced cutscenes and lots of narrative and dialogue and exposition and summaries of what they're saying when you're on the quest accepting screen or the closeout of the quest screen, they are clearly trying to tell a story here. The problem is it maybe got too big that they don't know how to do it, or as I have said just a moment ago, they don't know how to tell a story at all. We've seen this. And I think that is one of the biggest frustrations people have. Investing year after year, going through all these major and minor DLCs, seeing these characters respond to the world around them. It seems to me, and I am not making this up, I'm just reading what's on the Reddit, it seems to me that many people are incredibly aggravated that they feel that the game just didn't live up to the hype. Does not feel like it was worth $50. I'm all for content being harder, but being one-shotted isn't fun. Just the list goes on. This is insane. I have never seen such a 180 in a community like this. And if you go back to this forum a week ago and you only look at forum posts, the hype of getting wound up for this game and the goodwill that they had going into this and the excitement that was surrounding this was through the roof. Pre-orders were through the roof. Over 300,000 people playing on launch day that were streaming on Twitch. The amount of people that were concurrently playing, the amount of streamers like Tim the Tatman, who never has touched Destiny, playing a 13-hour stream because he was so addicted to kind of the world and the environment and trying it all for the first time. It seems like all that goodwill is already fading away. And here we are, not even a week into the review. And man, oh man, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, the final shape is kind of like the end. They've been very clear on their roadmap, and that will be the end. But based on this, I have no desire to get this. I have no desire to play this. And I'm good with just going back to my staple shooters. And unfortunately, the thrill ride that was Destiny, the excitement that was Witch Queen, that was a good story, that was engaging and left you with some open-ended questions that may be answered of like, why is this happening? And, how is the Traveler involved? And what is the Veil? And all these cool things that are being teased over the years. Well, you're not going to get that answer now. Instead, you're going to get a weird 80s throwback. I don't know if they were like watching Thor Love and Thunder and said, hey, we need to make that in a video game, or they appreciated what Far Cry 3 did with their DLC. I have no idea, but I can say that just reviewing this from an outsider's perspective and seeing what people are saying, not good. So Bungie, I think you made a big mistake when you wrote this, and not to sound bitter, but when I did apply to you guys and wanted to come over and help out, and your interview process was kind of fucking batshit crazy. Well, being a little full of yourselves, I don't know. I think you fell pretty hard. That's unfortunate. I hope they can turn this around. There's a lot of opportunities with these mini DLCs to right the ship, but maybe not. Maybe not.